I decided to look into the 3-eye atlas. You like that? I've been waiting all day to do that. I've been looking into it, right? Because it's been a while since I've looked into it. And I'm telling you, there's some weird stuff going on about it, okay? And some frustrating things as well. So if you don't know about the 3-eye atlas, is the third interstellar object coming into our solar system, or in our solar system now, okay? Now, I'm just going to briefly go over, because I'm sure you know, but I think it's always good to recap, the 7 strange anomalies about this comet that don't seem to be a comet, okay? This is coming from Avi Loeb. And just to recap, just to let you know, remind you even, that he's put this as a category 4 out of 0 being an actual comet and 10 being an alien tech of some sort, okay? He's put this as a category 4. It's unusual size, number 1. The sunward jet plume, which we're going to go into that a little bit more in depth in a second. The unusual chemical composition. The extreme negative polarization, ecliptic plane alignment, we're going to go into that a bit more, optimized planetary flybys, and alignment with the WOW signal. But basically, in 1977, there was a signal fired out into space, and something came back. A signal came back. I think it was from the Sagittarius constellation, that area. A signal came back, and the person who saw this signal was like, wow. So we got something from that area, and this is where the comet is coming from. The 3-eye atlas is coming from, around about that area. I think it was off 9 degrees of that area. So it's quite strange. So that's the 7 anomalies. We're going to probably touch into some of those in a second, but I wanted to talk about how strange and convenient it is that there is a government shutdown. There has been a government shutdown. So basically, 3-eye atlas, right, went past Mars, right? Let me just bring this up for you. On the 3rd of October, this was the position of the 3-eye atlas, right next to Mars. So all of these telescopes, all of these cameras and everything were pointing straight at this thing, giving us the perfect time to have clear, I would say detailed pictures, or the clearest pictures to what we have already of the 3-eye atlas, okay? There it is, passing. Okay, you can go on this, by the way, by science.nasa.gov. So this was it, and it gets to this bit, and all the cameras, all the telescopes are going flash, 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 flash. Great, 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 great. Let's take a little look at this. All right. But then nothing. Nothing. And it's now the 15th. When I say nothing, we've got no images from NASA, because there is a government shutdown. I didn't fully understand what that was. Okay, being from the UK, there's like a government shutdown. Like, what are you talking about? So I looked into it, and basically, it's a bill that usually goes through, but it didn't go through, and it was to do with a budget. So things basically are on halt over in the United States of America, baby. Come on, all right. So because there is a halt, there's lots of people on furlough, staff's down, they're running on bare minimum. And that's their excuse for NASA not releasing the images. It sounds so weird. Like, I'm not being funny. If this was my life, well, would I go to work for free? I don't know, man. One in a lifetime opportunity to see what this thing is. I would be like, do you know what? I'll go into work, whether they can or not. I'll go into work for free. Oh, I can't believe I left my lunchbox at work. I'm just going to go in. Tap, 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 tap. What does it look like? Release it. Right? I would do that. I'd be so excited. But that's the reason why we've not seen any images of this thing. Okay? From the Hubble telescope. Is it the Hubble? Because I also looked, well, when was the last shutdown? And the last shutdown was in 2018. And it lasted for 35 days. So then I started looking into the ESA. Now, the ESA is the European Space Agency. Now, they managed to capture footage of the 3-eye atlas. This is where it gets quite strange now, you see, because you've got this footage here. This is like a GIF that they've created. Now, this is going quite viral, this, because what people are doing is they're zooming right into this thing, going, hang on a second. We can see these white dots, almost like LEDs. Like, this is, and you can. This is it. Here, this is a 3i Atlas, mate. Right? Look at it. I mean, unfortunately, I can't pause it, but I have got an image here. So some people are saying that is clearly some like orbs flying around, okay? Other people are saying this is due to the rotation of ice and the camera lens picking up the ice molecules. And I think I actually grokked it. As the 3i Atlas approaches the sun, solar heating causes ices on its nucleus, estimated at 1 kilometer diameter, to sublimate into gas, which drags microscopic dust grains as small as 1 whatever that is radius off the surface. These tiny particles are ejected at high speeds, creating a broad diffusion tail that's rich in fine dust. When illuminated by sunlight, the dust scatters light unevenly, producing a sparkling or dotted appearance in long exposure images. The particles' small size and high velocities spread them out, mimicking individual lights rather than a smooth glow, especially in the reddish coloured coma, which contains larger grains up to 100, whatever that is, mixed with organics like tholins. It's not just that. That's one theory. The other theory is astronomical imaging artifacts. Telescopes captured by 3i Atlas through multiple color filters, red, green, and blue over time, and the comet's motion causes it to streak across frames, blending into multicolored trails of isolated dots, cosmic rays. Like it's got another example here. No self-emission of lights. Early speculation suggests 3i Atlas might emit its own light, explaining unusual brightness without a large coma, but observations confirm its passive reflection and scattering of sunlight of dust, no active glow or artificial source. Its particular polarization, deep negative branch, adds to the star-like scattering effect, but stems from unique dust particles, not luminescence. But what else is quite interesting? I tried to find out, has there been a comet? I know there's not been a comet like this before, but can we get something near it so we can also see if that comet looks like it's got little LED lights and stuff? Which I found this, and then it brought me onto something else, which is really strange, right? This is a comet which is called the C/2023. This was in 2000 and when was this now? October 2024, right? So Comet C/2023 Brighton Soho's Week, October 2024. What you're seeing here is obviously the telescope, and now this is basically blocking the sun. This ray here, these God rays, are the sun, all right? That's something else. Ignore that. Watch this comet come across here now. Right? So that's the comet of the C/2023. Look at it. Now I'm going to pause it right there. Okay? Look at the tail of this. Now, given this is a lot closer than the 3i Atlas. And I found out the C/2023A3 was about 58 million kilometers or 36 million miles away, okay? Whereas the 3i Atlas is 210 million kilometers or 130 million miles. So 36 million miles versus 130, right? So what, 94 million miles further away, okay? So looking back on it, this is 94 million miles further away, but surely you would see some sort of trail, right? Like, the other one was probably like a trail like that. And this is what Avi Loeb says about it.
European Space Agency released the data from ExoMars camera on one of its orbiters of Mars, and it looks like they detected the interstellar visitor 3I Atlas that was discovered back on July 1st, 2025, this year, and looked rather anomalous. The object is quite large, and it's also aligned in its path with a plane of the planets around the sun. So it's quite intriguing. It offers us a gift, a rare gift of a highly visible object that many of our space probes can look at. And right now, a few days ago, on October 3rd, it passed near Mars within 29 million kilometers, and this camera was able to detect it. And what we see is a ball of light with a slight extension, and it doesn't look like a typical comet where you see a beautiful tail of dust stretching away from the direction of the sun.
Okay, he's saying basically a small tail, not like your normal huge tail of dust, which we've just shown you. So you've got the C/2023A3 with a huge tail. And the 3I Atlas has got barely anything. It's like one of those little dogs with a little stumpy tail. Like, what's going on there? Now listen to what he says directly after that, right? Listen to this.
So it looks still quite anomalous. It's similar to the image we obtained from the Hubble Space Telescope on July 21st.
Yeah, okay, so he looks similar to this one. This here, right? Barely any tail. In fact, it's just like a haze. It's not really a tail there, is there? It's just like a haze. We haven't finished yet. Listen to this, because it brings me on to the next bit.
Which was enigmatic because there was an extension of the image in the direction of the sun, as if there is a jet that is luminous in the direction leading to the sun rather than away from the sun, the way we see for comets. So
what he's saying there is that most comets, when they have the tail, it points away from the sun. So as it gets closer to the sun, it heats up, right? And due to solar winds and radiation pressures and stuff like that, the tail fires away. But this one is pointing towards the sun. The tail's pointing towards the sun. And I started going, that made me think of this. Now, I know, I'm just going to show you the distance of the 3I Atlas away from the sun, okay, just in case you've forgotten. So 3I Atlas, and here's the sun. So as it's approaching, right? As it's approaching, the tail, instead of pointing this way, right? It's pointing towards the sun. And I got to be honest with you, like I say, so here's the Earth, right? Let's pause that. Here's the Earth to the distance of the sun, and then there's that, right? Now, look, we feel the heat over here, right? We feel the heat. We need to be protected. The sun is damn hot. It just made me think of something, right? And now this might be a little bit far-fetched, but it's been brought up before on the comments on my videos. A particular planet-sized thing drawing energy from the sun. Look at this.
In March 2012, astronomers reported an unusual sighting of a UFO larger than Jupiter hovering near the sun for 24 hours straight, absorbing plasma. Despite initial skepticism, images from NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory confirmed the event. Scientists were baffled by the object's massive size and ability to withstand the intense heat and radiation of the sun. Some speculated that it could be an alien spacecraft or a natural phenomenon yet to be discovered. What do you think?
There's loads of videos about that. There's loads. This happened. This happened, right? So my question is, although it's not this close to the sun, is it using the sun's energy? Is it like bloody Superman that just has to look up into the sky and he gets his powers back and then, like, do you know what I mean? And the reason, look, I know it's far-fetched, but I'm just echoing what Avi Loeb said. If we don't ask these questions, no matter how silly, we potentially might never get the answers if we dismiss something that just seems too far out there. So is this thing getting energy from the sun? And something else is a bit peculiar about this thing, right? Okay. You might know it's gone from being a reddish hue to now green. It's turned green. Now, why is it turned green? I think it's because of different chemicals and gases and things like that it's releasing as it's heating up, as it's getting closer to the sun. Okay? Yeah, it's shredding nickel and iron at an exceptional rate. Because that's happening, I think it's turning green, right? But some people have got a crazy ass theory. Again, we've got to ask these questions. Listen to this dude. This could potentially be some sort of force field that it's generating, right? Hang on, because there's more, mate. There's more. Listen to this dude.
I found something very interesting about 3i Atlas this morning. In doing a little research, it's putting off a magnetic field with this coma and the CO2 gas that's actually protecting it, somewhat like the magnetic field on our Earth that protects us from the solar winds, the solar rays, the cosmic rays, X-rays, and it's also getting protection from small meteorites from this big coma that it's got going on. This coma is consistent of plasma, CO2, and a magnetic field. And I would assume having such a huge energy source of 10 atomic power plants inside can create any type of field it wants. We're seeing that it's actually able to bend solar winds whenever it's coming upon. So basically, I think it's got shields on. It's blasting through everything. Nothing's being able to affect it. That's probably why it doesn't have so much of a tail. It's not breaking apart. These shields are protecting it. There's a lot to be said about this comet. We need to watch it. We need to understand it. We are truly understanding ourselves the more we understand the universe.
Wow.
Everybody have a nice afternoon. Peace out.
Cheers, mate. Peace out. It's a theory, right? It's pretty crazy to think that it could potentially be a magnetic field. Like, this is so futuristic. It's unbelievable. Now, also, I'm sort of backtracking here a little bit because I'm going back to another video and I was like, oh my God, the 3i Atlas is changing direction. And loads of people were talking about this, this comet, it shouldn't be changing direction and stuff. And I put it down to maybe it's like a gravitational pull from other planets and things like that, right? But apparently this was bursting every, what was it now? Is it 4 minutes? It was bursting and changing direction. It was having a burst of every, I think, 4 minutes. Put it in the comments. I might be wrong. It's in my last video. But it was bursting on the dot, right? I mean, this was clockwork, yeah? And I thought this was strange until I found out that it actually gets even, I was wrong, but because I'm wrong, it's even more strange, right? Because comets, in fact, do change direction in a crazy amount, right? A crazy amount. In comparison to the 3i Atlas, yeah? Huge. Let me try and find this video so you can hear it, right? This is mad. This is on the X channel Pesquizador. Riddle me this. Where are the images of the 3i Atlas passing Mars? Listen to this, right?
What's interesting is the trajectory and velocity of 3i Atlas has remained almost perfectly consistent for the entire time that we've been observing it. Since the object was first spotted in early May up until right now in October, it has not sped up, slowed down, or changed direction by any meaningful amount. That might not sound weird, but if this were a comet, then it should be moving around a lot more. You see, comets heat up as they approach the sun, which causes them to melt, or technically to sublimate, which is what happens when a solid transitions directly into a gas. And the release of that gas tends to push the comet around in space, like a thruster.
Yeah, right? So if you were in space floating about and you had a can of bloody Lynx Africa, if you went like that, you would just rock it. This is what it's saying. So when it gets near the sun, it releases this gas, and that should like throw it off course. Let's carry on.
So a typical comet will change velocity and direction depending on what side is being exposed to the sun. We call that movement non-gravitational acceleration, or NGA, and we typically measure the average distance of variation that occurs in one day. As we've seen, 3I Atlas has been doing a lot of sublimating already, including a mini tail that formed in the direction of the sun, which has now begun to evolve into a longer tail that is facing away from the sun. And yet, on a daily basis, the velocity and trajectory of 3I Atlas has only fluctuated by about 1.5 kilometers of NGA per day. Let's compare that with 2I Borisov, the most normal of the interstellar trio.
That was the second interstellar comet coming into our atmosphere.
It was measured to fluctuate over 100 kilometers per day, about 100 times more movement on average than Atlas. Now, one potential explanation would be that Atlas is bigger and therefore harder to move. Makes sense. But we can bring in another point of comparison. This is Hale-Bopp. It's one of the biggest comets we've ever discovered in our solar system, at least as big as 3I Atlas, if not much bigger. We saw Hale-Bopp move around by an average of over 10 kilometers of NGA per day, again, around 10 times more than Atlas. And Oumuamua blows them all away. At some points, it was changing direction by over 1,000 kilometers per day. So even when compared to other interstellar objects, 3I Atlas is moving in a very strange way. It's holding such an unusually steady course that you could almost say it's intentional, as if it's being guided through the solar system.
Mate! So it's heating up, it's trying to burst away, but it's going, no way, mate. It's like turning the steering wheel back in. It's like, no way!
If 3I Atlas is a ship that is being steered, then not only can it hold a course, but it could, theoretically, also change course whenever it wants. Right now, we expect that 3I Atlas will end up being on the opposite side of the sun from the Earth as it passes through the inner solar system, so we won't have an opportunity to see it up close, or it won't have a chance to see us, unless somehow 3I Atlas is able to slow itself down as it passes by the sun and we find it waiting for us on the other side.
Oh, mate. Now, I know I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited because these are genuinely weird situations. Now, I know it's only the third interstellar object that we've got, so we haven't got really much sort of evidence to sort of, see the comparisons, but it's still odd, right? All these things are still odd. Okay, so let me just... This is like an added bonus, okay? But it's quite interesting. There is a... Let me just see this a minute. If you don't know about remote viewing and you think it's a load of nonsense, yeah, I sort of understand your feelings about it. However, I have covered this before in one of my other videos about remote viewing. And there was one particular case where this person had evidence, receipts to back up what he was seeing. And this was like somebody so well known, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. So I think there are, and that's just one episode. There's like hundreds and hundreds, thousands, if not thousands, and this is proven that the government do actually have people to remote view. It's like, unless it's even crazy to say that out loud, okay? But whatever you're thinking about remote viewing, just try to accept that it's potentially true and real, 100% legit, just for now.
3i Atlas. A lot of people
Yes.
are talking about that right now. Hot button topic.
Right. So I remote viewed the objects first, and I basically was determining that it was more of a craft, more of a mothership.
Okay.
I'm not the only one who came up with this idea. Like I already basically expressed it to other people I know, and a lot of other remote viewers have also been saying that I can confirm whatever you've been seeing. And then more recently, I was in touch with a person, like a scientist. So I spoke to an astrophysicist who worked at CERN, and she opened up to what she experienced there. And I was quite amazed by the content. So indirectly, she was introduced to me from a person in the intelligence world, and she felt compelled to address it. She was more of a consultant working for CERN.
Okay.
And as a young...
So basically, if you know what CERN is, right? CERN is like where they fire particles around and round and round, like 99.9% the speed of something doesn't happen out of all this. How stupid is he going to look? So it just makes you think, well, is there some sort of truth? CERN opens up portal, chatting to alien beings on the 3i Atlas. A bit too far-fetched? What do you reckon, mate? That's what I found out so far about the 3i Atlas updates. I'm so glad I looked into that today, because that's pretty mental. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and as always, please put your comments down below. See what I want to know what you think. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.